Well, this certainly wasn't the video I was planning on making today. I was actually planning on sitting here and talking to you guys about the many, many things wrong with the current Marvel X titles. But sometimes circumstances change, news happens, and here we are talking about DC Comics getting evicted from their swanky offices in Burbank. So this was a big deal in the world of comics. For those of you who don't know the entire story, DC Comics was originally founded and has for decades been located in New York City. But after the Warner Brothers acquisition and everything else, they decided to move DC Comics to Burbank to be part of the whole Warner Brothers lot situation down in Southern California. So they went from pretty expensive offices to really expensive offices down in Los Angeles. So circumstances being where they are, they have lost the right to their offices in Burbank. They are being kicked out. Ironically, on the same week that the Batman movie is going to come out and just dominate the box office, or everyone expects it to anyway. And they're getting moved to a smaller shoebox of an office where people are going to have to share desks. And what a situation. Now, it forced me to think to myself, what exactly did DC Comics get itself or do to itself to get into this situation? And oh yeah, that's right. So it seems that DC Comics has just made a series of terrible decisions, and the interesting thing to watch with DC Comics is as they have to see the iceberg ahead of them, yet they not only don't course correct themselves, they pick up speed and head even faster into that iceberg. I mean, whether they're taking a character that has positive fan reception and canceling her before she even has a chance to really find her footing and gain a fan base and create any kind of mythos, lore, or excitement, or just spending money, time, and talent just basically making hate mail to their fans in the form of these YA novels. DC just can't seem to figure this out. And I mean, they are a company in crisis right now. I have to say this doesn't look good. Now, I don't think this is quite the end of DC Comics. I think that, to quote The Matrix, there are levels of existence which you are just going to have to be forced to accept. And DC Comics is going to have to basically accept the fact that they are relegated to a closet, that they don't have a lot of space. But maybe there's a positive to this. Now that they don't have such expensive real estate to cover, maybe they can take some of that money that was going to maintaining these offices and the staff to actually getting some top tier talent and putting it on a few of their books, so that they're not just the company that puts out Batman comics, and that maybe they can start do something weird, like maybe make some good Superman or good Green Lantern or Flash comics, or pick a top tier superhero that belongs to DC. I mean, currently it's Batman or bust for this company, and that's just not sustainable. If you're going to be the number 2 publisher comic, or the number 2 rivaling for the number 1 publisher of American comics, then you need more than one character, even if you can think you could just churn out 20 books of that one character every month. Not going to work. So, I really hope that DC kind of takes this as a wake-up call, that they take this as a call to action, that they really do need to course correct, that they can't just come up with stories that are going to get a bunch of Twitter shares and social media likes and call that a business model. No, it's time to get back to reality, cut out all this just woke nonsense, cut out all of this weird Twitter bait story content, get people that know how to tell stories, get back to basics, get your heroes back to front and center, get them doing what people want to see them doing, and for God's sakes, just make a good damn comic book. I mean, seriously. I know it's harder than it sounds. Believe me, I know. But I mean, at the same time, you as DC Comics, you as a company has been doing it for the better part of 80 years. So let's just remember what made you great. Let's get back to it. This is a learning experience. I have faith that DC can bounce back from this. Or you can kind of just keep going in the direction you're going and just be the dumpster fire that we've come to expect you to be. So that's really all I have to say about that. Now on to the announcement that I talked about. So, I was gone for a while. I hadn't posted a video for a few weeks, and had a couple people were messaging me wondering if I had gone, if the channel was down, if I was okay, and I appreciate all that. But no, I'm still here. And the reason I was gone, I'll talk about it now. I did a thing. I actually created a graphic novel. For those of you who followed the channel for a long time, you know that I write and illustrate comics. That's kind of what I do when I'm not doing this. And that's how I support myself. And I've taken the books that I had written and drawn and collected them into one about 160-page graphic novel. It came out really well. It's a really solid, really professional, mainstream, looking book. And that's what I wanted it to be. I wanted this to be something that could stand alongside comics from Image, comics from Marvel, comics from DC, all the big ones. And to give, fans out there just a new superhero universe to hopefully get behind and follow. And I put a lot of work and thought into this, as well as my collaborators, put together a really great story. And, if you're ever wondering how to support the channel, this is a great way to do it. Buy my books, because I don't just sit here and complain about comics. I try to put my money where my mouth is and put something out in the world that I think is the kind of comics that I think people like and people want to read. So, but beyond just doing that, I have been touring and doing comic conventions. I've done several now since the end of last year, mostly sticking around my home area. But, I travel a few hours out of the way. A couple subscribers have even tracked me down at a couple of these shows, and I got to meet you, and I really appreciate you guys. And I'm still going to be doing appearances in shows. And so if you see my videos start getting a little not quite as regular, I always like to post at least one video a week, sometimes two. But if I miss one, it's probably because I'm getting ready for a show. And just like these last couple of weeks, I decided to take my little act on the road and hit a 3-day convention in Las Vegas. It was a fantastic experience. I'd never done a show that big before, and it was really, really rewarding. I enjoyed interacting with the fans. I got to talk to people who bought my book on one day and got to come back to me, as the show's going on and let me know what they were thinking of it and their opinions and their thoughts. And it was really rewarding. I really liked it. I always like visiting Las Vegas anyway. And it's a great town. It's a great show. It's called the Level Up Expo. If you ever get a chance to go, I highly recommend it. And I also highly recommend, if you have, the means and opportunity to do it, go ahead and visit my Indiegogo page. I'll put a link in the description. If you want to think about supporting the book, that would be awesome. It's already printed. I'm mailing them as soon as the campaign is over. I just need to really know how many to order. And so if you want to give my book a chance, just check it out. I really appreciate it. And, that's really all I have to say. So I'll be back with that X-Men video probably early next week. And we'll flip the coin and talk about Marvel for a little bit. So, but back to DC. Let me know what you guys think about that. What do you think about them getting kicked out of their office? Good thing, bad thing? Do they deserve it? Do they not deserve it? Let's talk in the comments below. And that's it. I'm going to leave it there. So thanks, guys. Good to be back. And I will talk to you on the next video. Bye.